So I ran into a problem today, as a matter of fact. I've been using this site for a number of years called slides.com. And slides.com is great because what it does is it lets you create slideshow presentations without having to use, let's say, PowerPoint or one of the other, applications that it's required that you install something on your computer. Slides.com is great because you can just use your web browser for doing presentations. And so let's take a quick look here. And I have about 60 presentations on here that I put up over the years. And the thing that's really nice about this is that I can just come over here and I can click on one of the presentations, and then I can come here and edit it and change it, and that's all great. But the problem I ran into today, let's leave that, is I came over here to create a new deck, and I got this little message right here. It says you've reached a maximum number of decks on a free plan. So what I decided to do was I wanted to see if I could take all of the presentations I had and move them over onto my Gatsby site. So before I get into that, if you could, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, you can give it a thumbs down, but please give it a thumbs up. What I decided to do was to export all of my slides as HTML. And one of the things that's really nice about slides.com is you can come into one of these slides, as a matter of fact, and if I come over here and I say, click on this, they have this little export button here, and then you can download the entire slide presentation as one single HTML file. Very handy. So what I did is I saved all those out, and I decided I wanted to port them over to my Gatsby site. So if you're not familiar with Gatsby, Gatsby is a way that you can use React.js to generate a HTML site. And so for my regular site, this is it right here. This is all done in Gatsby. I have some of the different products I have my blog is up here. And what I decided to do was to try to make all these slides available. So the way I did that is Gatsby has this concept of being able to do static sites. And so what you can do is you can go here into your Gatsby config as an example. And this is my Gatsby config. And I'm using a plugin here called the gatsby-source-filesystem. And what this lets you do is this lets you use your file system for if you want to take something and make it available. In this case, if you have a static site you want to make that available, or static portion of your site that you want to make available. This is great if you have like images, CSS, just regular content that you want to serve up that doesn't have to be rendered. So what I did was in my static folder, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. I created a new subfolder called Slides, and in that folder I just went in here and I put in all the different HTML slides that I have. So in order to display these, to make these available, what I did was I created a new slides page, my Gatsby site. And so since I'm using the Gatsby source file system, one of the things that Gatsby will let you do is you can actually use the GraphQL to essentially query this up and display this in a page. So what I decided to do is to take every single HTML file that's sitting inside of here and make that available inside of a new page called Slides. So if I come here and I open up my pages, and we can see here that I have one that I just created here called Slides. And what this is doing is pretty simple. I'm coming over here and I'm querying essentially all the files, and I'm just trying to match any file that has a relative directory in the slides folder here. And then what that'll do is I'll pull back the name and the relative path. So if we want to see what that looks like inside of our GraphQL editor, what I'm going to go ahead and do is run the Gatsby develop, and on top of spinning up a development copy of the site for testing, it also spins up a copy of Graphical, which is the way that you can test out your GraphQL that you want to use in your site. So let's come back here to our browser, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up localhost 8000, but I'm going to do __ GraphQL. And we can see right here that I already have the query that I was using here on my page in the graphical editor. So if I go and run this, we can see this returns all the different slides that I have now on my site. So now if I want to make that available, all I have to do is inside of my new page here that I've created, I'm passing in the data from this GraphQL query. And then inside of here, what I'm doing is I'm just doing a map over the edges. Edges is essentially as an array. And then inside of there, what I'm doing is I am defining a new relative path. And then inside of here, I'm just basically outputting an anchor tag. And you have to use an anchor tag here. You can't use the link, because if you use a link, it tries to point to whatever the page is .js, which would be a GraphQL, I'm sorry, a Gatsby page. And so we want to point to the actual static page. And so if we come back here to the web, I go here and I go to my about page. I had this link already here with all my slides in it. If I go and I select that, boom, there we see we have all the different slides here. So I just did one on node 16. So if I go and I click on that, it's going to load that up, and here is my slide presentation. So I can go through here and I can view that and just present that right there from my website. So I hope you appreciate that. Like I said before, if you could, please subscribe to my channel. If you like content like this, that helps the YouTube algorithm. And also, like this video if you like the video. With that, have a nice evening.